All right, folks. The Nintendo just revealed the Nintendo Switch 2 yesterday, and I wanna talk more about it. So I'm here with my good friend Cory. Say hello, Cory.
Hello, Cory.
There it is. I was waiting, hoping you would respond that way. That's the usual, right? Uh,
That's that's why they pay me the big bucks, as I think of the obvious jokes.
that's how they. That's someone's got to do it. Um, so have you seen this trailer yet? Have you
I
taken a look
have.
at it? You have watched it. Okay. What were your first responses to it?
Well, my first thought was, God damn it, I'm gonna have to shell out a few $100s in like the next couple of years for a brand new Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that's fair. That is
That aside,
that.
um, I thought it was interesting how it's basically the same design, but it seems like they've kind of improved on some of the mechanical aspects of it, I guess. The kickstand looks a lot more stable, which is kind of nice because it's not often that you want to play in tabletop mode, but the kickstand of the current Nintendo Switch, or at least, I don't know, maybe the OLED model is better because I never got that one, but the kickstand on mine is borderline useless.
Yeah. So the OLED model had a full uh piece that was just across the entire back of it. So
Hmm.
it was like one slab of plastic that went across the whole bottom line. Of course, the original just had that one like strip that was
Yeah, it's just got
off
this one
centered.
little
Yeah.
bicycle kickstand. Uh, it's not very functional.
No, it's not great. I have a little log here of talking points of things that we should go over with this trailer. Because first, just speaking about the system itself, we've got, of course, the trailer opens up with the showing us the size difference between the
Yeah,
original and the new one, which is really
it's bigger.
nice. Yeah, we like the bigger screen. That's nice.
I do
Um,
like the bigger screen. I hope it's not much heavier because I've already noticed that with the current Nintendo Switch model, if I'm playing in handheld mode, it can get a little heavy after a while.
really
Yeah,
interesting. I can understand that point. I have not had that issue on on my end. I have the OLED model, and maybe
I wonder if it's
I don't know.
lighter,
I don't know.
or maybe I just have weak wrists. I don't know.
That could be it also. I will say I noticed the I don't think bezel's the right word, but maybe that's what people call it because I know the bezel is usually the lip around the glass.
Hmm.
Um, but I'm looking at the space between that plastic edge and the screen itself. Um, and it's less than it is on the original Switch model, but I think we've got a little bit more empty space than there is on the OLED. We've got a bit more empty, unused space on this console than the OLED, but I could be mistaken.
Could Yeah, I mean it would be hard to know without actually looking at them side by side,
Right.
but it does look like the dimensions of the screen are different.
Definitely.
Um,
I'm really excited for the larger console though. It's gonna be nice. Okay. Uh
thought this was an interesting way of displaying the whole thing, is like all the like little ports and things kind of popping out of this plastic shell. I mean, obviously that's just an animation. It's not
what?
like
No.
reflecting.
This is them making it live.
Yeah, it's gonna the Switch 2 uses nanotech technology, and you
this
can reshape it at your whim.
this is exactly what the production line looks like.
But hey, we do see it's still using USB-C as its charging port.
Hallelujah, just as everything ought to now, because it's a good standard, I think.
It's better than anything else out there, as far as I'm concerned.
And they've got a port on the bottom and the top, which
Oh, I missed that.
yeah.
That's interesting.
So this one here that we're looking at is the top port. Let me take the video back a little bit so you can see there, because this here is the bottom where it would connect to the dock when you slide it in, right?
Oh yeah.
And then up
So then that
here
means
where the
the
power, the
headphone.
volume.
Oh, you're totally right, because there's the volume and the power button,
Yep, and
and
the
that
game card
means the
slot.
headphone jack is also on the top.
Correct. So this is basically the only port that's different um, between this and the original Switch is that second USB-C port on the top, which would be really nice for like if you're playing in tabletop mode and want to charge your system or something like that.
Right.
That could
Or
be
even
really
in some
helpful.
cases, it might just be less awkward to have it plugged in while you're playing in handheld
That too.
and have it plugged in at the top.
And knowing Nintendo, maybe it's gonna be used for some weird peripheral.
Maybe. I could also see it just kind of functioning as a third port or an extra port for like a wired controller.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely an option as well. I'm curious what the connections on the dock will be. We'll talk about the dock in a little bit. The kickstand really nice. I will say the up close visuals of the console, you can see the texture of it, and like
Mm-hmm.
the original Nintendo Switch had like that matte finish, and this one looks kind of textured.
Yeah, it's
I don't know
interesting.
why.
It's a little bit grippier.
I'm I'm excited to grip it. I want to grip it now. I can't yet
What it
though.
kind of reminds me of is it kind of reminds me of the texture that was on like PS2 controllers or whatnot, where it's like it's
Oh
still like
yeah.
mostly smooth, but there's just a little bit of a texture to it.
Just so
It
that
makes it
so that it's not gonna slip around in your hands as easily.
yeah, because we all get sweaty when we're gaming.
That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. I will say that you're right about the kickstand too. This looks really nice, and they show it like flexing and how much
Yeah,
it can take to go back.
I'm interested to know like can it lock at multiple different angles, or is that just I wonder what exactly they're meant to be showing off
Yeah,
there.
I don't know if it locks. Um, Looking at it here, I wouldn't think that it locks necessarily, but you can lean it back very far, which might be nice for like I'm thinking about like gaming on a plane if I'm wanting to have it in tabletop mode on the tray in front of me, which typically if I'm gaming on a plane, I'm doing handheld. But
Yeah, I mean, like I said, the tabletop function is not called on often, uh, but for those late college nights when you're having a impromptu Smash tournament in the Denny's,
you gotta have it. You
you
gotta
gotta have
have
it.
it. Uh, I'm looking at this uh section here that has the if you look at the bottom of the console, there's a little hole in the center. Um and I'm not sure if that's just going to be a spot for guiding into the dock appropriately or not. And then there's a spot on the right there, which I think is that's probably where the external storage goes. But I
Probably.
there's rumors about it being something not necessarily micro SD, which would be odd. I don't think that's true. It's probably going to be a micro SD again. But hey, I could be wrong again.
I mean, what else would it be
I've been
unless
getting a lot of egg on my face when it comes to Switch 2. Just real quick, last year I made predictions about the Nintendo Switch successor. I got pretty much everything wrong. Nothing was correct in my thoughts. I was like, there's not going to be Mario Kart. Okay.
That's funny. I forgot you said that, and Mario Kart is literally the first thing they showed
Yeah,
off.
literally the first game for this that they show off. The one piece is that we don't know the names of these new Joy-Cons yet, because if they're still going to be trying to get rid of some of their old stock of the original Nintendo Switch, they're gonna name these something else. Probably still Joy-Con, but there's probably going to be another
They're gonna be
add on to it.
called like
Joy-Con 2.
they're gonna be called a Joy-Con 2 or
probably
or
Joy-Con 2 just to like match it
probably
with the thing.
Joy-Con 2. I was gonna say like a Joy-Con Plus.
That's what I assumed it would be.
But I also, in the back of my head, I feel like that's already a thing. Like they already have something called a Joy-Con Plus.
Yeah.
No, I'm thinking of what was the extra sensitive Wiimote called?
That was Wii Motion Plus.
Yeah, that you needed to play some of the like later Wii games.
Yep. Anyway, the only thing that I have remaining from my prediction video really is I still believe that Metroid Prime 4 will be
A launch title.
It's going to be cross-gen. Yeah.
It could be. It could be.
I think
Although
that I think they will
I wonder
release.
if there's-
Well, I don't know. See,
I
it's
wonder if
difficult
there's a
now.
need for that because it's going to be. Well, I mean, we'll get to this later, obviously, but it's going to be fully backwards compatible. I really wonder if they would commit to making another version of Metroid Prime 4 that would just be a little bit higher fidelity, but it's still only going to be. You're still only going to be marketing to people who have Nintendo systems.
You're absolutely right.
So
That's totally fair.
I mean, unless they throw a real wild curveball and they release it on PC or something, but
okay.
who knows?
So looking at the Joy-Cons, what I like about this trailer a lot is that it really just straight up shows you exactly what the difference is between these things.
They're a bit bigger. They look a bit sturdier, which is nice.
The buttons themselves are bigger. Like
yes,
the buttons. It looks like the joysticks are a little bit bigger too. Everything about it is just a little bigger, which is honestly great, especially if you're wanting to do the 2-player. Every person grabs one Joy-Con.
right.
That's going to be so much better with these than it was with the original ones. Because I remember taking out playing Mario Kart in an airport or something and being like, hey, let's play Mario Kart. Here's a Joy-Con. And then we're like, ugh, these things are so itty bitty minuscule. You do your best though,
Yeah.
How do you feel
sure
about the
do.
splash of color? Because
I think it's nice. To be honest, and I know that going all black is the safe marketing choice.
yeah,
Part of me wishes that the whole thing would have been more colorful.
I'm with you there. I've become very, very fond of the original Nintendo Switch release with the blue and the red on either side.
Mm-hmm.
I was the adopter at the beginning where I was like, I want it to look uniform, so I got the gray ones, and then a few months out, I was like, oh, I really regret this. I should have gotten the colorful one. Looking at this, I might have preferred it to be all one color, like all black if it was going to be black. The little splash of color is okay.
So what I'll say about the color, and it's the same thing I feel about the current Joy-Cons, is that not only are the gray ones they're less interesting to look at, but I actually find that having the different colored Joy-Cons is a good way of indicating which controller is what. It's much easier. I mean, obviously, you still have like the light indicators to show like this is player one or two, or but I don't know when you're playing like Mario Party or Mario Kart or something, and everyone's just got a single Joy-Con. It's kind of nice that you can just look very quickly and like, oh, it's the red one that needs to hit OK. Who's got the red one?
Right.
And so I feel like the Joy Cons having different colors actually serves a functional purpose.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll say the SL and SR buttons are so much bigger on this than the original. It also, like, the way that the connector piece pops out feels better than the little rail on the previous Joy-Con. Um,
Yes.
I I will say, before I move on from the color, I think that the colors, I believe that Nintendo will probably have two SKUs for this. One is this main marketing color scheme of the blue red, either side with the black main. Um and then there's going to be another one, and I don't know what it is, but because, like, Nintendo has typically done that. It,
Hmm.
I
Well,
don't remember if they did that with the Wii. I don't think they did
no, the
initially.
Wii. Well,
They had other colors later on, but
the thing with the Wii and the Wii U is that they mostly just came in black and white.
yes,
Um, Before that, the GameCube was originally just in purple, and then they came out with a bunch of different colors.
they came out with the
N64
silver.
was kind
Yeah,
of the same way, and then before that, it's like what you got is what you got.
yeah.
If you got a Super Nintendo, it's purple.
I do think that the Joy Cons, the way they are, the colors with the way that the system is made, because the system has those troughs colored as well to match the side, which is going to be so much better for people who were having difficulty figuring out which side does this go on.
Mhm.
Because I remember when the Switch initially came out and everyone was having difficulty. People were putting them on the wrong side. People were shoving the wrist straps on and not getting able to take them off.
I still have to double check the wrist straps. The Getting the Joy Cons onto the console itself, I never found to be that difficult because you just have to match up
It's because
the,
you pay attention,
the
Cory.
the letters on the buttons should be upright, and the buttons should be facing the player, just like the screen would.
They're definitely just making it as foolproof as possible, which is
Yeah.
a really good idea for them, so that they don't have to deal with repairs on warranties or whatever. You
I
know.
think that's guiding a lot of their decision making as far as how this is constructed, is that they heard a lot of the complaints about everything feeling kind of flimsy and the Joy-Con drift and everything, and they're just going for hardier construction. And they even show off like, look, we made the joysticks more sturdy.
Do you think that's what that's in the video for? The
I,
joystick spinning around?
Maybe not, but I don't know. I can't help but think that because one of the main complaints right from the start was just how fragile the Joy Cons were,
Right.
and I think they're just trying to show in general that this one is not going to break as
I
easily.
just think about the Joy-Con drift, and that's where people go immediately when they see this. But I'm thinking about the shots that come before and after it. Where they're really just showing this is what they look like now.
Yeah,
You can press the buttons and move the joysticks still.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, it'd be very weird if they showed it off and it was like, yeah, we made the joystick stationary this time.
That
Can't
would
move them at all. That
hilarious.
that's a choice we've made.
We put the 3DS
Uh,
circle pad on these.
you know what? You know what? Hey, listen.
The circle pad wasn't that bad. It was fine.
The circle pad was not bad at all.
It was the nub. What do they call that? I don't know.
Uh,
I don't remember what
the,
they called it.
the nub,
I called it the nub
the
on the
Nintendo nub,
on the new 3DS models.
the new Nintendo nub.
Yep. Here's the fun. Oh, one thing I'll say: there's no IR sensor on these. If you didn't notice,
That's true.
on the base of them. What was that on the right Joy-Con? I don't remember which one it goes
Yes.
on. But there's no IR. Yeah, it's on the right Joy-Con. There's no IR sensor on this, but they do have little optical sensors on the inside, and it looks like they go into these wrist straps, and you can use them as like mice.
I've seen a lot of people saying, "Oh, you're gonna be able to use the Joy Cons as a mouse," and I mean, if that's what that is, then that's cool. I don't know how many Switch games. I mean, I suppose it would change. It would start to change if that was the case. I don't know how many Switch games currently would really benefit that much from having a mouse.
It is going to be a seldom used feature. It is the Nintendo gimmick because
I
they
also
are Nintendo, so they have to put a new gimmick into their
I
new
also
console.
don't know if that's necessarily what this is showing. I think this is me saying I think that they're just having them move around in a fun and interesting way. I don't know.
I can't see if that was the case. I feel like put the they would have animated the straps getting put on differently, because right now it shows them placed literally onto a surface rather than in the air like the rest of the trailer.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Fair enough. It just seems like such an interesting that seems like such an odd thing for it to be
Yeah,
to
that's
me.
fair. It's I guess yeah, especially since the majority of people who are going to be playing this are probably going to be playing on a television, playing from the couch or something like that. So there's not as much space for using something like a mouse. But I think Nintendo's going to use this feature in new, interesting ways. Not a lot, but probably some. Um, Maybe something where it's like, okay, you're gonna get up and move, and you're gonna move around your Joy-Con on the floor or something. I don't know, something weird. Something weird. There's gonna be some weird Mario Party mini games, a WarioWare that uses it. I don't know, you know.
Yeah, it's an interesting the fact that there's a sensor there at all. If that's what that is, I didn't really to be honest, I didn't really notice that being a thing until you pointed it out.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that little guy there.
yeah,
I
interesting.
do like that the wrist straps have the color to match on the actual meat of them.
Yes, that's gonna prevent a lot of
This one
headache.
goes with this one.
Uh-huh.
You can't put it. Don't put it on the other one. I like that with this, you can still see just a little bit of the color in between in the little gaps.
Hmm. I think I wish, since we're talking about the color again, I wish that the red was a little bit more red,
Me too.
or even if it went like bright pink or something. It's just this kind of like weird muted salmon is not that appealing to me.
Right. Yeah, I get you there. Okay, so one thing.
I am interested. So we see that the Joy-Con, the new Joy-Cons, the Joy-Con twos, are going to just kind of snap into place. There's not no sliding into a slot anymore, which makes me wonder. Uh, how well are they going to hold in place when you're in handheld mode?
I'm very curious. They said, it's probably magnets. That's what all the leaks said. It's definitely magnets the way that this is going because there's no way that it's holding together any other way. But yeah, I'm curious how well it works. Um, Also, the connectors. A lot of people online that I've been seeing have been worried about because you can see when they go in, you're having to go in from like an angle
Mhm.
a little bit, like down to up to snap them in. And I'm curious. There's there's people who
Is
are
that actually what's going to be the case, or is that just a
maybe I
little
don't know.
animation
It might just be
flourish?
a little fun animation thing going on, but people are worried about prying these ending up getting pried backwards and messing up the connector.
Yeah,
But I'm not an engineer, so I don't know how
I'm
forgiving
curious.
that would be.
I'm curious what the purpose of that connector is, because really, there doesn't need. I mean, unless there's going to be some new features that are specific to these Joy Cons, there's not really any need for like data to be transferring
Charging?
between.
I guess yeah, charging.
I guess so.
Cuz that's
But they didn't need anything like that for the Joy Cons to connect and charge for the current Switch.
they sure do, Cory. Have you looked at the bottom side of the railings on your Joy-Cons?
Let me look at one right now.
There are little connectors.
I mean, there's little
Yep,
ones,
that's where the connection happens.
but it's not nearly as I feel like the majority of that piece that's sticking out is either going to be plastic or like hard metal. Like it's not like your phone charger.
Yeah, it's not gonna be something that's snapping off. I think Nintendo's a little smarter than. I mean, they did
One
have
would
the
hope.
Joy-Con drift and everything, but people are really pointing out flaws in something that they haven't even seen a real version of yet. They've only seen a computer generated render.
Mhm.
I think it'll be fine.
I think it'll probably be fine, especially because if we remember how big the entire Switch 2 actually is, that's not really that big of a protrusion.
No, it really isn't. I do like also that the more rounded edges on the Joy Cons. That's gonna be nice
Mhm.
to hold on to. Um, Moving right along, we've got a dock. We've got a dock for the Nintendo Switch 2. We'll take a look at Mario Kart here in a second. Um, I like that the dock is rounded to match the rounded Joy Cons.
Mhm.
Um, I will say we know absolutely nothing else about it. We just know what the front of it looks like.
I mean, to be perfectly honest, I have no reason to believe it's going to be functionally any different than the old dock, other than it's going to be a little bit bigger.
We might know if there's ports or something. Um, but yeah, I guess we'll find all that out on April 2nd. Um, oh, one thing I didn't mention: the right Joy-Con has that extra button on the face, that little square.
Oh, interesting.
Um, so Cory, I don't know if you're familiar with any of the leaks that have been happening, where this model exactly was basically leaked weeks ago, before Nintendo made their announcement. But that button in all of these leaks has a C on it. In this trailer, it is of course blank because Nintendo is keeping information from us so that they can announce it at a later date. But what do you think? What do you think that might be?
Um, you said it has a C on it.
Yep.
C. Uh, well, C makes me think of the C stick or C buttons,
That's what I thought.
which if that's what that is referencing, then I guess it has to be some kind of. I mean, is this the new Nintendo Nub?
Oh
Is
my
that what we're
gosh.
seeing? Is it some kind of like tertiary directional input? I don't know.
Yeah, I have
I can't,
absolutely
I
no
can't
clue.
imagine, based on where it's placed, that it's going to be something that's going to be used very often.
The fact that it's only on the right Joy-Con also is like, because if it was on both, I would be like, okay, that might be something that activates the optical sensor or whatever. But since it's just on one side, I feel like it's got to be something that is like a system function
Mhm.
rather than like a gameplay input.
What I hope it is that it's a button to shift your right Joy-Con into vertical mode, so that you can play games that use one Joy-Con, or just navigate your Switch menus with one Joy-Con, like it's a TV remote, like the Wiimote could.
That's nice. Oh yeah. Oh, that would be very nice. Okay. Joy-Con grip, of course, standard. Gonna ship with one of those.
I
It
know that everything with the current Switch already had the logo plastered all over it, but it's a little bit odd seeing a controller with a big two
it is
in the middle of it.
very funny. It's very. I thought the same thing. I was looking at this. I was like, that seems
Just in case you forgot what system you're playing.
pretty egregious. They of course had to take out some of the plastic so that these just slide in from the side rather than slide in from
Hmm.
the top like it did on the of the original Switch. Um, okay, let's take a look at Mario Kart. Um, right from the start here, we got this new track. That's fun. What do you think about this track, Cory?
Um, I think it looks like a track.
Like Mario Kart. Um,
We got like, what are those, like shipping containers off to the right hand side, and
yeah,
some kind of a building that you can go into, looks, or maybe that you can't go into, but there's some kind of building storefront. Uh, yeah, it looks like a racetrack design. I'm not blown away by it.
this looks kind of like an old town making old westerns or something. I don't know.
What does
Um,
that what does that logo say on the storefront on the left hand side? It's like
something
something
flower
low.
station, something flower station.
Okay.
The it, I think the big
Oh, it's a
takeaway from
train
this,
station. I
yeah,
see.
the big takeaway I think from this shot is that there's 24 spots to start,
Hmm.
which means 24 racers.
How many were there in the previous Mario Kart?
I believe there was 16.
Okay.
So that is quite the increase there.
I
Um,
wonder if this is gonna follow in the trait of games that are having a lot of online players, and you have some kind of like a Mario Kart Royale or something. I mean, it's not quite that extreme. It's not like 99 people racing on the same track,
right.
but it definitely seems like, maybe they're just scaling it up a little bit.
One thing people realized was that, well, of course, everybody looks a little bit more cartoony than
Hmm.
they did previously. Princess Peach is riding a bike, but she also is still wearing her dress
Hmm.
and not her bike suit. And that made me curious. Is that a bike or is it a moped?
It looks an awful lot like a scooter to me.
It looks like Rosalina here uh, is
Is that
on
like a
some sort of
snowmobile?
snowmobile.
Uh,
That's
Also,
crazy.
you can actually like see her like ankles and a little bit of her legs there,
She's
which is
driving.
well, the reason that strikes me out as odd is just because usually you don't see any of her lower body at all.
That
Like
stuff's all
she's just a
concealed.
big flowy dress.
Yeah. Bowser's on a big old four wheeler,
Of course,
of
as he's wont
course,
to do.
as does Bowser.
Yeah, all of
Donkey
their
Kong.
renders kind of remind me of um the art style that the Super Mario characters were kind of drawn in uh back in the late 90s actually.
Yes, Donkey Kong in particular. Looking at Donkey Kong, I am it's like right out of uh an instruction booklet for an old Nintendo game. The the way that his eyes pop from there, he's smiling, he's big and kind of goofy looking, and I love it
Hmm.
so much. He looks I think the word is kind. He looks kind and
That is also a little bit interesting just because they haven't really deviated from the rare design that came from Donkey Kong Country.
who looks like he would make fun of me. This Donkey Kong would never. He would he
So
would never call me names.
what that makes me wonder uh, is whether Nintendo is going to start putting out more of their own Donkey Kong titles.
I hope so. I'm gonna get to that here in a moment when we talk about games, but I have some thoughts.
Mhm.
Um, Game looks nice.
Yeah.
Joy-Con pops up right there. Yoshi's. I want to visit Yoshi's and get a burger at that little Yoshi's Burger diner spot.
Yep.
Oh, that looks so nice. I can't tell if it's supposed to be just a fast food drive through, or if it's supposed to be like an actual diner. It looks like both. A mixture.
It's like a Sonic, and the little Yoshi waiter comes out with your food.
It's also huge. This is like a freeway. Do you see how large this?
That does look big. Uh, I saw someone on Blue Sky speculating whether this is meant to be like an open world Mario Kart of some kind. Like there's going to be like big open areas for you to drive in.
Give me a Mario
Um,
Kart story mode.
that would be so interesting.
That would be awesome.
They've done that for a couple of the other sports titles, so it's definitely a potential possibility.
Yeah, I think about
It will be interesting to see whether they're going to just go like for even more of a because the current Mario Kart really does feel like the complete package in a lot of ways,
it really does, especially
and
after
so
the
I,
DLC.
and so I wonder if they're going to just go even further with that and just add. I mean, obviously we see that there's potential for more racers. I wonder if they're going to have more characters. Um, but maybe they'll also do a little bit of a Smash Brawl thing, and they'll add some slightly different features, take it in a little bit of a different direction.
I
Who knows?
think that's probably a healthy way for them to go is to
Especially with the backwards compatibility, because people are going
yeah.
to be able to play Mario Kart 8 on their Switch too.
I don't need them to give me everything again. I need them to give me something new. I think that's what's going to make me want to buy this game.
Mhm.
It's coming out this year, so that's nice. Backwards compatibility. Okay, so we got the caveat here. Well, first of all, both physical and digital games, which thank goodness. I'm very happy to see that digital games uh will be supported, so I'll be able to play my library on the new system. Um,
Yeah,
but there's this caveat as well that says certain Nintendo Switch games may not be supported or fully compatible with Nintendo Switch 2. Details will be shared on the Nintendo website at a later date.
I have a feeling that what that disclaimer is that there are going to be certain peripherals from the Nintendo Switch 1 that just are not compatible with the new Joy-Cons. So, like for example, the Ring Fit Ring Con
Correct.
thing, you're obviously not going to be able to plug a new Joy-Con into that. So, unless they come out with a new version of that peripheral, or unless they let you use old Joy-Cons with the new Switch, you wouldn't be able to play that game.
That is exactly my thought. Um, I I think I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they'll let you pair old Joy Cons with the new item.
I would guess probably not,
Yeah,
although there's really no reason why they couldn't do it.
yeah,
Um,
but yeah,
Other than obviously you can't charge the old Joy Cons on the new system,
right.
so they might just not let you use them at all for simplicity's sake, so that Grandma doesn't get confused. Uh,
Grandma, no.
but on the subject of Grandma getting confused, I didn't mention it before, but I did notice that in addition to each side of the Switch 2's um, main body having the color that matches the Joy Cons, you can also see briefly that there's a little plus symbol at the top of one of the slots.
Yes, very
So
apparent.
so it's like, this is the red one with the plus. That's what goes in this hole.
Don't make the mistake, Grandma. These go in. This is where this goes. You can't deny it. Uh, so yeah, the games that won't work on this are either things that make use of peripherals like the Ring Con for Ring Fit Adventure or Nintendo Labo, where you
Yeah,
literally can't fit the Joy-Con in there, or things that make use of the IR sensor like Labo.
it
Those,
might also be a thing, and I guess we don't know. This would be something that you wouldn't be able to see per se. But I'm also wondering if the new Switch is not going to be compatible with amiibos,
ooh, yeah,
because they've more or less discontinued amiibos,
they have really slowed that down. I wonder if
and
they might just go in an entire different direction this time.
I wonder if they just decided, like, we don't really need that feature anymore.
I mean, they have so many other sources of income now with Super Nintendo World and their film industry.
Hmm.
Yeah, Nintendo's really getting income from all over. They might just be like, cut their losses with Amiibo at this point. That's a good point.
Yeah,
I hadn't thought of that. Um, moving on, we've got the direct coming, where we'll find out all the details. Um, on
all the ones they want to tell us anyway.
Yeah, on April 2nd, which is 2.5 months away.
And probably very purposefully, they put it after April Fool's Day.
I didn't think about that. Day after. The day after. Yeah, it is a Wednesday that they are doing this. And then they have a bunch of hands on events that are going to be happening worldwide starting on the 6th, I believe it was. Um, I signed up for the for one of the New York options since I'm in New York, and they limited it because they're doing a drawing system, right? So you sign up for the time that you would like to go, and I thought it was going to be you select the location that you want to go, and there would be a drawing, and you would then get to go, if you're selected, to that place. But you actually have to select your specific time slot on that day, as on a particular day also. So you select your location, and then you select your day and time, and you have, that's the only one that you get to submit for.
Mm-hmm.
You have to pick, you have to choose. So I feel like some of those options are going to be more difficult to get in because more people are going to be submitting for those time slots. But we'll see. We'll see what happens. Maybe I'll get to go to a hands-on event. Maybe I won't. And if I
Yeah.
won't, then I'll just be with the majority of people. And that's fine. The system's coming out this year anyway. But let's see here. Cory, when do you think this is going to come out?
Let me see. So the announcement's in April.
Yep.
Ooh. See, the problem is that I'm not up to date on like the economics of this type of thing. So it's like I don't know when's a good month to release something like this.
I'll tell you,
Uh,
the fiscal year ends March. So they are starting out the fiscal year with this Nintendo Direct about the Nintendo Switch 2.
mhm, 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 mhm. uh, I wonder if they would have it out as early as May.
So I thought about that. My thought is going to be June. I think they're going to give themselves a little bit of breather. It could be late May, but
Mhm.
I'm thinking like late May is, it might be a little early in my brain, but like June, mid to early June, I think is their ideal window, because they have a couple months between their announcement where they are going to reveal like price and all of those details, um and they're going to want to have a little bit of of time for like, press coverage and that kind of thing. So and I think 2 months is probably good. I would guess a later date. Like, if it's not June, they're not going to release it until like the holiday season. I don't think. I would think they would release it in like September, maybe. Because I feel like if they're going to release it in the summer, they want to get it at the beginning.
Right,
Uh,
right.
but they also have no other games after. I don't believe Nintendo has any
I
first
mean,
party games
would
set
they?
for
Would,
release this year, other than like the last one is Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is coming out March 20th.
right. I wonder, would they wait as long as November just to like really get that holiday market of like, the holidays are coming right up, brand new game console.
I don't see, writing that hype is really great and really a good idea, but I think that Nintendo doesn't want um to have any chance of the unexpected when it comes to supply issues. And that
That's
time of
true.
year, if you're launching the console at that time and everybody wants it for a holiday gift, because that's the time when people are spending the most money anyway, um, that might be really challenging to meet the demand at that time of year. I think
That's
that
true.
I think they'll want to release it earlier so that they have the supply for the day one adopters, and then later on that year, they'll be able to uh, handle all of the requests from everybody else, the families that are buying it for their kids, and the less hardcore Nintendo fans.
Yeah, I honestly think the smartest option would be your initial prediction of like an early summer release.
Yeah,
Uh, because then like the hardcore video game people are gonna get it right away. And then that'll give them time to like assess uh how big the market is, replenish some of the stores, and then have it ready for a second wave when the holidays come around.
exactly. I think that would make for like a really great first year for them also.
Hmm.
Um, let's talk price. What do you think it's gonna cost?
What do I think it's gonna cost, or what do I hope it's gonna
Give me
cost?
both. Give me both numbers.
Um, I would like it. I would want it to stay in the sub 300 range. I don't think that's realistic. I think it's looking like this is going to be a much more uh I'm not finding the right word right now, but it's going to be a much it's going to be a serious piece of hardware is what it is looking like. That's the image they want to project at the very least.
Yep.
Um but it's not going to be 500.
No. Oh no.
So I'm going to guess that it's going to be somewhere between 350 and 450.
Okay. That's a fair assumption. That's about where most people are landing on it. Um, so the Nintendo Switch OLED model is 350,
Mm-hmm.
and this console, I Nintendo in the past has released consoles at like strange price points, like between the 50s and the hundreds. Um, I think they did that with 2DS. The 3DS after its price drop went to some strange item that wasn't a clear 100 or 50. Um,
True, that's true.
so there's a possibility that they could land somewhere in between.
You know
But
what?
I
Just
don't think
just
they
to put
will.
an just to put an extra specific number out there, because I think you're probably that's an interesting observation. Uh, and it's probably going to be it's not going to be less expensive than the OLED. Like, there's
No,
no way.
no, it's going to be
I think
more
it's
than
going to be a little
350.
bit more expensive. I think they're gonna put it out at 385.
385. Okay, that would be interesting. I think Nintendo, uh, given the rest of the market for the video games consoles at the moment, are sticking to the even 50s divisible price range. I think that Nintendo is either going to go 400 or 450. I don't think that they're going to go 450 because I think they are trying to avoid that at all costs. I think
Yeah.
they might even sell this at a bit of a loss at the beginning. I who knows.
I
And
mean,
then as after like the first year it might become more profitable, but
I suppose that's the other kind of thing to consider is how much are the games going to cost?
that's true.
Because I could easily see this being as low as 350, or maybe even a little bit lower, if the games are consistently at a 70 or $75 price point.
Honestly, yeah, if the games are coming out at $70 and you paid just like 375 for the console, like Nintendo's
It's an
definitely
old
losing some money on the console, but like you buy your printer, but then you got to get the ink for it.
Yeah, it's an old the 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 way I always learned this economic principle is that you're giving away your razors to sell the blades.
You're locking someone into your ecosystem, um, and if they want to use your ecosystem, then they're gonna have to buy your products.
Exactly,
um,
exactly.
yeah, I think that games. I think we're gonna see a lot more at that $70 price point because right now, Tears of the Kingdom I think is the only one that Nintendo has released that has been at that $70 price point. There's been other like deluxe editions of games and stuff that have come out at a higher than the regular $60 standard, but
Mhm.
I think we're going to see more of those $70 titles going into this next generation. I think Mario Kart is going to be one of them.
Ooh, you think so?
I think it might be. Um, but
I I wonder because Mario Kart is kind of one of those games that gets marketed as like a whole family thing, and it's kind of like more marketed to kids. Although maybe that's how they could justify it is that it's like, well, this is a product you're buying for your whole family,
right.
so really you're spreading that $70 out across 4 or 5 people.
And
Maybe.
um, I mean Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is like huge. You know, one
I
of the
mean,
highest selling games of all time.
the
It's way
the
up
most
there.
cynical part of my brain says that uh, by that time next year, $70 games is going to be $70 AAA games at the very least is going to be pretty much the norm.
Right.
And Nintendo might even try to push that a little bit higher.
Yeah, I think that they're not gonna. I think they're gonna need to have at least a couple years of um, adopting this new price point for people to get used to it before
Hmm.
they actually try to increase to something else. So I maybe they'll trickle it in. Maybe we'll get a one or two launch titles that aren't at that full $70, and they're still at the 60. I think when the Switch launched, Breath of the Wild, of course, was 60, but then 1-2 Switch launched at 50, I think, and it still is 50, which is absolutely ridiculous. 1-2 Switch is not worth $50. Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but they're not going to sell a physical game for much less than that.
No.
And they've also
Yeah,
kind of shown that if something has a physical version, they're not going to they're not going to dip below that price even if you're just buying a digital copy,
that's true. That's very true.
you
Okay.
know.
Speaking of games, let's talk about what we think is coming to this.
I
Um,
think they're going to have Mario Kart.
what? Yeah, that's a pretty surefire one. And given that it's in the first reveal trailer,
Imagine if they didn't.
I like
Could you imagine if that whole animated sequence was just fake? It was just fake news.
that would be so funny. There's
Nintendo's out here telling us porky pies.
there's no way that like it has to be if not a launch title, it is coming out this year. I would be shocked, especially because Mario Kart
That
8.
Simpsons meme of Mom, Dad, new Mario Kart. Like, yes, new Mario Kart tech demo for the Nintendo Switch 2.
Because Mario Kart 8 came out on the Wii U like 11 years ago or something. Um, so
Fine,
it's been
evergreen.
so long. It's been so long since a real Mario Kart because I don't count tour or home circuit.
As you shouldn't.
Yep, correct. Uh, so I think that's
Uh,
going to be a launch title.
Mario Kart aside, what else is going to be on this thing? Do you think they're going to have a new mainline Mario? You
Okay,
think we're gonna see Odyssey 2
this
or some such?
this was something I was thinking about. Okay, I
Or do you think they're gonna go Wonder 2?
no. No.
Mm.
Ooh, there might be a Wonder 2 at some point. I don't
Mm.
know if that's coming this fast though. It's only been a couple. Well,
This summer.
what was the space between? No, no, never mind. I have no idea. I don't think that it's going to be that soon for Mario Wonder 2. I think there's not going to be a Mario Odyssey 2 either because that ending with Bowser is they're not going to get that same feeling again. So I if there is a Mario
Unless
Odyssey 2, it's going to be something else. It's they
Mario Odyssey 2 featuring Wart.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe. It would have to be a different villain than Bowser if they did Mario Odyssey 2.
Mario Odyssey 2 featuring Dante from the Devil May Cry series.
You devil may try.
He
Um
stole Mario's pizza.
I think that okay, something I really want, something that I would love to see after seeing the Mario movie, the Super Mario Bros movie. Um, we've had Mario versus Donkey Kong. I want to have Mario and Donkey Kong. I
Mm.
want a game that is Mario and Donkey Kong teaming up for an adventure.
For what?
That could be like a 3D platformer with Mario and Donkey Kong. Um, I personally have never played Donkey Kong 64, but
Um,
take stuff from that, take stuff from Odyssey.
Maybe. I mean, honestly, like Donkey Kong 64 is like a whole. I mean, you've heard the rap.
Oh yeah, oh
There's a
yeah,
whole DK crew. I don't think they would go that direction if it's a Mario and Donkey Kong team up. I think you're gonna stick with you're probably gonna have like two distinct play styles with Mario being kind of like lighter and faster,
yep.
and Donkey Kong being a little bit more like maybe he's a little bit of like there's like a light brawler or action style to his gameplay, or maybe they have slightly different like platforming abilities and you can kind of switch freely between them.
Yeah,
Something like that.
my brain kind of goes to like a Banjo Kazooie or a Sonic Heroes kind of thing where
Yeah,
you
I think that
have
could work really well.
both of them at the same time, but you can swap between them for different purposes.
Now the question is if they did something like that, is it going to be like a whole new setting like Odyssey was, or are we going
Yes.
to see like sort of a crossover between the Super Mario Brothers type of situations and a little bit of the Donkey Kong world thrown in? Are Bowser and K. Rool also teaming up? And maybe you got to
Ooh,
fight some alligators.
I like that idea. This is see I thought about this like the reason I thought about this was because of Donkey Kong's new design in in the Mario Kart, and I was just like, it would be really cool to just see like Mario and like play a game where Mario and Donkey Kong team up. That's like a 3D platformer or something. So like I'm just really excited about this idea that probably is not happening, but I would love it to happen. We'll see. Nintendo's. I mean, they're obviously working on a new 3D Mario game. Like that is something that is in development at
I think
in some
I think it's
respect.
something that's always kind of like in the works, even if they don't have like a specific release date in mind.
Right.
That seems to be like one of the titles that they kind of use to just test out their new ideas. Um, Obviously, at some point, there's going to be Zelda on this system. Uh, I personally hope that they move away from the uh, because I could very easily see a future in which 3D Zelda just is the Breath of the Wild series.
Yeah.
I kind of hope that they don't do that. I hope they keep some of the gameplay elements because I liked that how Breath of the Wild was kind of more open ended and more like there was a little bit more of uh options for you available than in like Twilight Princess or something like that. But I hope that they go with a different story and a different setting, new versions of the characters, because it's been a while since we've seen that.
Yeah, I think Echoes of Wisdom was one of my the reason that I liked it as much as I did was because of the different story beats.
Hmm.
Like
Even Echoes of
new
Wisdom,
characters.
though, I mean, I don't think it's supposed to be like a direct sequel to Link's Awakening, but it's using the same art style. It's kind of the
Yeah.
same version of those characters.
Yeah, that's true.
Uh, it's been a while since we've seen a new Link and Zelda, and I think it would be cool to see what that would look like.
Something brand spanking new.
Hmm. Do you think they're going to go back to Green Tunic, or do you think they're going to continue doing new and weirder stuff now that they've had him Atlas and in his little blue shirt?
That's a great question. I think I don't know. Do you think there's a world where we do get a more a more linear 3D Zelda again? Or do you think that's out the window? Do you think it's all going to
Yeah, I
be
don't know.
that open world again?
Here's the thing: is that uh, back when Breath of the Wild was out, my answer would have been a pretty definitive, like, oh no, they're gonna have a more linear thing. Like it might they might take some of the game mechanics and kind of transplant them, but there's definitely gonna be a more linear Zelda. Uh, but then Tears of the Kingdom came out, and it was also hugely successful, and it was pretty much the same game. And so I wonder, like, maybe this is just the direction that they're going to take it in now.
I think that is correct. I think they're going to work on fine tuning it more and more to try to give the experience that people are looking for, because that since Breath of the Wild came out, people were complaining, oh, we want more traditional dungeons. And I
Hmm.
think that's going to be something that they're looking more into as they develop the next 3D Zelda.
That's
Um,
true, but also consider this: that Tears of the Kingdom did have more traditional dungeons.
that's what they said.
I mean, they're more they Tears of the Kingdom has proper dungeons. That is probably the one thing I enjoy about it more than Breath of the Wild.
They had themes. I think. Uh, I wish they were more than just hit the five switches. That's the thing that I was like, because when I think dungeons, I think, oh, I gotta solve some sort of puzzle or make my way around this map. Um,
Right.
and
Well,
I didn't get that same experience from the Tears of the Kingdom dungeons. I mean,
that's
like
because
getting to
that's
them
because in
is
Tears
like
of the
part of it,
Kingdom
right?
you could Minecraft your way around any problem.
Yeah,
There weren't really puzzles in Tears of the Kingdom.
yeah.
I hope your audience isn't like full of Tears of the Kingdom diehards because I I have a lot of
Listen,
harsh
I
criticism of
love
that
I
game.
love the game. Had a blast. It's fantastic. I did not 100% it like I did Breath of the Wild, but
I
I did enjoy it very
liked it
much.
considerably less than Breath of the Wild.
I put I think more playtime into Tears of the Kingdom than I did 100%ing Breath of the Wild, which is insane. I don't know how that's possible. But it is. I did it. Um, anyway, I think Metroid Prime 4 is gonna come out on the Switch too.
See, and I wonder. I really wonder.
They could just release the Switch version as if if they are just doing a Switch version and not Switch 2, and they're just letting you use it, and I don't know if there's going to be any sort of like performance boost or upscaling for Switch games that you play on the Nintendo Switch 2 or whatever. But I think if they do release it just for the Nintendo Switch, then the release window for the Switch 2 gets pushed back further, because I think they're going to want to have Metroid Prime 4 have its little moment in the sun, and then it moves on to Nintendo Switch 2.
See, here's I would fully agree with you, um, except that we have to. I mean, I don't know, because here's the thing: is that we already know that uh, Metroid Prime 4 is going to be on the Switch.
And it comes out this year.
Um, and so I have to wonder, like, we don't really know anything about the technical specs for the Switch 2. Is it sufficiently more advanced that there would be a point to making new cartridges and like splitting the production between two different platforms when both of those platforms could play the Switch 1 version of the game?
That's true. We don't know how much different it's going to be. We just know that it's going to be different and more powerful, but like to what extent, we don't have the answers. I think the same thing goes for like Pokemon Legends ZA.
I will be real with you, I forgot that was coming out.
Yep. That's why I brought
Is
it up.
that coming out this year?
That's this year. I believe.
Interesting.
I'm pretty sure it's this year.
They still haven't shown very much about it.
No, it was literally just that trailer, the reveal.
I guess that's kind of how Nintendo do, though. They don't like to show off their games before they release them.
That's true. Especially Pokemon, the Pokemon company. They're
Yeah,
real tight-lipped. Game
there will certainly be a new Pokemon, if not at launch, then I'm sure fairly early on in the life cycle of this thing.
I think we're also going to see something whimsical, some fun, weird game that is going to take advantage of the Nintendo Switch 2. It's any new functionalities that the controllers have. It's going to it's going to use them, because they like to have some tech demo game.
At launch, there's going to be some type of a. I hope it's less of a 1-2 switch and more of a Wii Sports.
Please, oh yes.
But who's to say? Honestly, I really hope that there's more games that that take advantage of the Joy-Con that are not like, I don't know. Like, I feel like where were all of the Switch light gun games? Where were all the Switch boxing games that you could have? Or
well, they've got fitness boxing 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah, but that's not really those are fitness games, or if you want to be very generous, they're rhythm games. I want Punch Out for Switch.
Yes, I do too. I'm with you there.
Now that said, I don't know if people would want a Punch Out for Switch that uses motion controls.
I do. I want them to do Wii Punch Out again, but for the Switch.
Mm-hmm.
That would be
well. But
awesome.
Wii Punch Out didn't use the Wiimote and nunchuck to.
Did it not?
No. Oh. You played with the Wiimote as if it was an NES controller.
Interesting. Sad.
Yeah, because that game Punch Out's a bad example, because Punch Out is not really a boxing game in that sense either. It's like a very high precision like reaction based game.
Ooh, Nintendo Switch Sports. What if they what if they brought back the sports? What if they did Nintendo Switch Sports and they put the Mii's back in it?
And what if they put fun games in it?
We haven't talked about any. Okay, I yeah. So we've got uh games, right? Games are gonna happen. Snipper Clips was one of my favorites from the Nintendo Switch launch. I would love something little and fun like that. Um,
Mhm.
Aside from games, though, what kind of like software do you think that Nintendo is going to have on this console for like the eShop or the home menu, things like that?
There's gonna be some type of implementation of their music app now.
Oh yeah, I'd
Um,
forgotten about that.
they're definitely gonna carry over the they're not called Virtual Console anymore. What are they called?
Nintendo Switch Online.
Yes, that's such a worse name. I'm gonna keep calling it the Virtual Console.
I just say
Uh,
NSO.
um, maybe depending on how advanced this thing is, and whether Nintendo can open up the vault after a while. Maybe a few years in, we'll even see NSO expanded to like GameCube and Wii games. Who knows?
I think there's definitely potential for GameCube games to come to that.
Because that's something you have to keep in mind. And I'm speaking to you also, viewers at home. The GameCube is a retro video game console.
Came out in 2001, baby. Yeah,
It's it's older than some of you are.
that's crazy, man. 2001. I yeah, I would love to see something fun and wacky. Of course, Mii's. I love Mii's.
I
Um,
love Mii's too.
I want them to be used. Still, I would love that.
Get some of get some kind of like a Tamagotchi life or something in there.
Yeah, they don't need to be. I don't think they need to be the front and center aspect of the console, like a lot of people want. I do want them to still exist and still be like Nintendo's choice when it comes to making an avatar of yourself. Um,
Mhm.
because that's
I don't think that's ever going to go away just
in
because
in Nintendo Switch Sports. The fact that Mii's were not your primary choice for making your character, it really made me and a lot of other people upset. Um, as much as I would love to see something like Miiverse again, it's not happening.
it's not happening.
Nintendo is not doing that. They the
No, not in Elon Musk's America.
the server hosting oh gosh. The server hosting they've got enough going on with NSO. They don't they're making enough money. They don't need you to be
Well, and I think they've kind of realized like, oh, whenever we do online functions, we really need to limit uh how much people can control of what they're saying online because
uh
we don't want to catch that smoke.
we have a lot of children who use our products.
We at the Nintendo brand want
Ugh.
to remain E for everyone.
Yeah. It's unfortunate because they're man, Miiverse had some gold. Uh absolutely yeah.
The Nintendo Switch is for good boys and girls.
I hope there might be some themes or something with the home menu because the home menu on the
It
Switch
was bland.
was
It was
bland. It got like one update to add folders that you have to go to a different menu to access those folders, and it oh man, I want everything. I love the 3DS menu. The 3DS home menu is so good, and there's like sound when you're on it, which is nice.
I'd
I
like some themes.
I would like to have
Uh,
some themes that I could turn on sound or choose to turn it off. Also, would
what
be
would be
great.
kind of fun, actually, is if there were like a few generic themes that came with the system, and then you could get more either by buying them or what would actually be fun is if you got new themes that came with first party Nintendo games.
That would be
So like
cool.
you could get like a Zelda theme or a Pokemon theme or a Fire Emblem
The
theme.
3DS had that
Hmm.
with one of their updates. You could purchase themes based on particular games, and some games would come with a download code for a particular game. Another thing, because they have with if you have a Nintendo Switch Online subscription, you can use your My Nintendo rewards points to get like profile images and like create your own profile image based on with like a particular character or something. And that would be a great option for them to do for themes. Say like use your points to redeem them for this home menu theme. That would be a really good opportunity and actually really fun.
Actually, speaking of the 3DS, I talked earlier about like putting GameCube on NSO. Really, they should be working on putting the DS and 3DS on NSO.
Yeah, the challenge there comes with how they're gonna do the dual screen. Um, I don't
I
know.
mean, you can hold your Switch sideways, can't you?
I can't connect the Joy Cons that way though. The color doesn't match.
Well, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right. There's no plus sign here. Can't do it.
Oh man. I
Um.
am excited about this console to come out though.
All right, real quick, I've got a question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
Because we've been talking games, and we've talked about a lot of things that are obviously going to be there. But what's something that is not so obvious that you hope will be there or come back? Maybe like some older Nintendo stuff that's been dormant for a while, or something uh, that you wouldn't expect to find on a Nintendo console that you hope is there.
Oh my gosh. I I am a I I hate to say it. I enjoy Star Fox Adventures.
Interesting.
Um and I would love to see honestly, it would be fun to see something like that, but with more of the because there wasn't a lot of flying sections in Star Fox Adventures.
Right, right.
I'd like to see something more. I don't know. I like Star Fox Adventures. I'd love to see something like that. More Star
You
Fox.
know?
Star Fox that isn't Star Fox Zero. I would love to
Yeah.
see.
Well, and even Star Fox Zero, like that was once this thing comes out, that was two console generations ago.
Yep.
We haven't had Star Fox for a good while.
Yeah.
I think that's a good pick.
F-Zero too. Not there.
Not there.
Would be nice to see it. We haven't seen F-Zero since
F-Zero
Game
has
Boy
I,
Advance?
I honestly like at this point,
Was
if
GX?
they announced that there was going to be a new F-Zero that's like a proper full $70 game, I'm just interested to see what that looks like.
Oh my gosh, right?
You know, uh,
They put all their
one thing I
racing
could,
they put all their racing eggs in one basket and it's Mario Kart.
something I think would be really cool to see from an F Zero game is if they leaned into like the simulation side of it. Obviously, F Zero is not like a realistic racing game, um, but I think about uh, I'm gonna totally betray my ignorance because I'm not a racing game guy for the most part. Um, but like in Forza or what have you, there's kind of this element of you're not just racing, you're also there's like a huge career mode and you're customizing your car and really fine tuning what parts you want and what performance it's going to have. I think something like that in kind of a more fantastical setting, like, F Zero sci fi type thing where you get to build your own F Zero racer.
Yeah.
I think there's absolutely an audience for that, and I think that'd be cool.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Is there something in particular that you were thinking of when you posed that question?
Um, it's interesting because like I'm not a particular fan of the series myself, but I think it would be fun to see a new entry in the Mother series after all this time.
Oh my goodness. Could you imagine Nintendo releasing a Mother 4 and not not giving us Mother 3 in they don't release the translation for Mother 3, but they gave us Mother 4.
Yeah,
Oh, that would
well,
be so funny. Oh gosh,
stranger things have happened.
cuz yeah, they did Earthbound Beginnings. They had Earthbound. They had not Mother 3. They had Mother 3 mentioned at an E3 press conference where Reggie then killed a man. Uh,
Yeah.
oh boy, that would be really cool. I was actually playing Mother 3 earlier today, so
If they did, because you are more of a Mother guy,
yeah,
the video game series.
yes.
Uh,
Please definitely make sure that distinction is there.
uh, if they were to release a Mother 4 on the Switch 2, what would you want that to look like? Would you want it to be? Do you want it to be like fully retro like the old ones? Do you want it? Would you want it to be like an HD 2D thing, or would you be excited if they made like a full 3D Mother game with like a new art style?
I would want something um, probably similar to what Link's Awakening and Echoes of Wisdom is, but like not quite so toy like.
Mhm.
I'd want that kind of
So
vibe.
3D models, but still definitely the same style and the same perspective as the old games.
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be cool.
That would be a lot of fun.
I want an HD port of Zelda 2.
Yes,
Yes.
I want to. I want to play a version of Zelda 2 that I will feel empowered to complete. Um,
And I don't want it to be pixel art and I don't want it to be 3D models. What I want is hand drawn 2D animated sprites.
that would be fun.
Like a Vanillaware or a Lab 8 game. Or not Lab 8, Lab 0, which is now something else.
That would be a lot of fun. I think honestly, we've got all these remakes of games from like the Nintendo 64, like the 3D generation on, right?
Hmm.
A, a couple things from the Super Nintendo, like Mario RPG. I would love to see some more remakes from the original NES era. That
Yeah.
would be awesome. Like even the original Legend of Zelda, like getting that remade would be great. I would love to see that. Um, yeah, I think that's a good choice. Well, do you have anything else that you can think of that you want to talk about regarding this console?
Um, it's a good question.
I think,
Oh,
yeah.
so we discussed that we don't think that the old Joy-Cons are going to be compatible with the new system, which makes sense. What about Pro controllers?
Ooh, Pro controller. Um, I think there's definitely going to be one at launch, and I have absolutely zero clue um, how it's going to be any different from the current Pro controller. Really,
It's gonna have that extra button. It's gonna have that C
it
whatever.
it will have that button. Um,
Unless it doesn't, which is a very real possibility also.
do you think it might have some sort of trackpad like the PlayStation?
I doubt it. Um, I mean the PlayStation controllers they hardly use their trackpad anyway.
Right.
I can't really imagine like what Nintendo would use it for.
I mean, they like putting weird stuff on in their products.
They do like doing that. However, I imagine that if there's going to be any new weird innovation, it's either going to be built into the standard Joy Cons, so it's going to be like something with that IR sensor, like you were, or not IR sensor, but like that sensor that you were noticing earlier,
Yep.
or it's going to be its own standalone peripheral, and they're going to have like they're going to have the Switch 2 Super Scope or something. I don't know, but they're gonna have some extra doohickey that you'll attach.
Yeah.
I don't imagine for some reason it seems like it would be an odd choice to have a new function built into the Pro controller. Considering that the design philosophy for the Switch One kind of assumed that people weren't using a Pro controller. That was kind of a
Yeah.
secondary method of playing the game at all times. And in fact, you often lost out on features if you were using a Pro controller. There were things that you couldn't access.
Maybe with the larger Joy-Cons, they're just gonna move away
I
from it.
can't imagine that they wouldn't have Pro controllers,
Yeah.
just because there is a certain audience that really wants them.
Yeah.
Particularly if a certain very popular Nintendo game comes to the Switch 2,
Smash
which,
Brothers.
you know, as much as I think that that's unnecessary, it's very likely that it will.
Yeah.
Uh, but people that play Smash are not gonna want their only option to be Joy Cons,
That's
no matter
true.
how good they are.
That's true. That's true. That's how they get you. Well, I think Nintendo has their work cut out for them, and I think they've been putting in the work, and we'll figure out what more. I will figure out what some of the fruits of that
Yeah,
work
well, I guess
in
we'll
April.
we'll we'll see in April. We'll find out how many ice cubes are in those new Joy
Oh my
Cons.
goodness. Yeah, I
Um,
really hope HD Rumble is just no 4K Rumble, please.
4K Rumble.
4K Rumble. Oh gosh.
Nintendo, put IMAX Rumble in your new Joy-Con 2s.
Oh boy, we got to get that 4D experience.
That's their new gimmick. It's smell-o-vision.
Yes. You can talk into your controller and also smell it.
Yep.
Uh Anyway, that's our talk. That's our talk for the Nintendo Switch 2. Thanks for coming by and listen to us yap for an hour and a half. Um, it's been fun. Thank you, Cory, for chatting with me. I've had a great time.
Absolutely. Thank you for inviting me.
Yeah.
And remember,
Okay.
folks, Nintendo Switch 2. Put your tongue in the port and taste it.
Thanks for stopping by.